Hey guys! I know this video is going up super duper late. It's like, probably by the time this video goes up, it's like a week and a half after the end of Booktube-a-thon. But I was just so burnt out from reading after Booktube-a-thon that I didn't feel like filming. I actually didn't film day 6 and 7 because day 6 was like a lazy day for me. And day 7, I actually went to the 127 yard sale with my mom. Didn't end up buying much of anything, but I barely get to spend any alone time with my mom, so I didn't want to be like filming and just reading the entire time. So I didn't really read at all on day 7, but that was okay because I had already read 7 books for the week, so I didn't really need to. The only book that was technically on my TBR as a I'm going to read this book definitely was the book Jumper. I ended up reading another book for the challenge instead, but let's go ahead and get into what I read. Now, the first challenge for Booktube-a-thon was let a coin flip decide what book you would read first. And my coin decided I was going to read The Possibility of Somewhere by Julia Day. Now, this book, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like blow my mind fantastic either. It's a very basic plot and trope, but the story was still very enjoyable, and a large part of that was because I really connected and enjoyed learning more about the characters. The writing style was also very simplistic in this, or at least I found it simplistic compared to other books that I've read, and that would be something that I normally wouldn't like. Going with this plot, it kind of had a certain charm to it, and it made me enjoy the story even more. So I don't know, I was kind of back and forth on this because these are things that I normally don't like in books, but at the same time it's like, even though I do love this trope, let me put that out there, I do love the trope of this book. The way it was written in this and everything, it's just, normally I wouldn't like it, but I really enjoyed it. So rating wise, I was going back and forth between a 3 and 3.5 stars, but I finally settled on a 3 stars. Because now, challenge 2 was to read a book about something you want to do. Now this is when I was going to read the book Jumper. But everything that was happening the last couple days of Booktube-a-thon, I didn't have time to like sit down and read the book. I could have started it and probably got like halfway through it before the end, but I just wasn't going to finish it. So, knowing that, I decided to use Prince of Tennis Volume 4 to fulfill this challenge because I have always wanted to play tennis. The only problem is, there are tennis courts near my house. By near, I mean like 20-30 minutes away. But no one plays tennis near me. So, I would literally be playing by myself, which is impossible. Challenge number 3 was to read and watch a movie adaptation. Now for this, I ended up reading Prince of Tennis Volume 5 because this is an adaptation. It's not a movie adaptation, but it is an anime adaptation. And technically, there are movies to it, and I did happen to watch the movie. So I watched 178 episodes of this. I didn't watch New Prince of Tennis because I just got done watching it before Booktube-a-thon. I didn't feel like rewatching it. But I watched the first 178 episodes of Prince of Tennis, and then I watched the movies. Or movie. I only found one. I don't know if there's more or not. Next up is read a book with green on the cover. And for this, I ended up reading Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Shouldn't have to say much about this book. 5 out of 5 stars. Loved it just as much as I did the first like 12 times that I read the book. The next challenge was to read a book while wearing the same hat the whole time. This one I had a lot of problems with. I wore this hat, but this thing is hot. I really hate wearing hats so much. I suffered through it, and I ended up reading The Love Interest in I think like 3 sittings. It was actually surprisingly more fast-paced than I was expecting, and it was broken into 3 parts. Like the first day I finished all part 1. Day 2 I finished all of part 2, and I read half of part 3, and part 3 was only like 80 pages. And then I fell asleep reading this at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, woke up about 3 or 4 hours later, and I finished part 3. I fell asleep with this hat on too, so that's very uncomfortable, and I had horrible hat hair. Next challenge, read a book with a beautiful spine. And, oh, wait. I forgot to tell you my rating. I gave The Love Interest a 3 stars. This book back here has all my ratings written down in it, so I don't have to be by my computer. But yeah, this was a solid 3 stars. I mean, there were things that I felt were repetitive and could have been changed, and I also didn't like the possible love interest of Juliet, and that could be because everything was scripted between her and Caden, which is why I didn't like it. But it was more like I didn't like her part of it, because even though it was scripted, it felt like her part was scripted, which couldn't have been possible with this scenario. So I don't know, I just didn't care for her in the romantic sense, but as a friend, I really did enjoy her character. But back to the book with the beautiful spine, I can take that off. I read The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. My main reason for reading this book was, yes, to complete the challenge, because it has a beautiful spine, but I also wanted to read it because it's the last Nicola Yoon book I have on my shelf, and as you guys may know, I've been debating on whether or not to give up reading Nicola Yoon's books or not. Because even though everything I read in like one sitting, I had so many problems with the mental health issues and how they were handled towards the end of the book. And for this book, I gave it a 1.5 stars because there was so many random histories about people and words and other things that I really did not care for, and then the way it ended was also frustrating. I liked the ending, how it ended, how everything wrapped up, but the perspective it was told in was just ridiculous. I wanted it told in a different perspective, one that I actually cared about. But yeah, I think unless Nicola Yoon comes out with a book that I can't not read, and I'm not gonna take anyone's opinion on the book or not. It has to just sound like the perfect book for me to pick it back up. I mean, it's not like David Leviathan. I am maybe going to read more of her books in the future, but they just have to sound really good for me to do it. And the last challenge is always to read 7 books, and I read volume 6 of Prince of Tennis. I know, I read a lot of manga, but I read 3 manga and 4 actual books, so I call that a win. I'm not even 100% sure what the total page count of this is, so I'm gonna total that up real quick and I'll get back to you guys. Okay, so total page count is 1,874 pages, which I am extremely happy with, especially since I have done like 0 to no reading before Booktube-a-thon. To read that much in the span of a week is fantastic, and I'm so happy about that. I kind of fell into a funk where I'm not reading again, but hopefully I can finish a few things that have been on my mind, and then I can get back into reading. But yes, these were the 7 books that I read for Booktube-a-thon. You guys should let me know in the comments below if you guys participated in Booktube-a-thon. It doesn't matter how little you read. What matters is you participated. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!